Nigeria's central bank says it has begun implementing a comprehensive strategy to improve liquidity in the Nigerian foreign exchange market in the short, medium and long term. According to the Apex Bank governor in a recent statement, the CBN's focus is now on addressing fundamental issues that have hindered the effective operation of the Nigerian FX market over the years. Femi Oladehin, partner at Argentil Capital Partners, joins me for this discussion. Femi, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Esther. Always a pleasure.
Let's get right to it. I'm sure you've seen the news headlines of the CBN clearing backlogs, some FX liabilities for some banks. We've seen the disbursement to some sectors of the economy, about 2 billion. And then there was that announcement, I believe yesterday or the day before that, about the fact that the CBN has cleared or paid off the remaining backlog of FX being owed to foreign airlines. It was curious because the figures that for the airlines now has been around 800 million, but total disbursement to the airlines comes somewhere above 103. But the CBN did mention that it only paid verified FX claims from these foreign exchange airlines. I'd like you to just unpack, those headlines for us. What have been the key takeaways for you so far before we come to talk about the strategy that the CBN says it wants to begin to look at to improve liquidity at the market?
No, thanks, Esther. Look, I mean, we've had a very interesting 2023, latter part of 2023, 2024, with the exchange rate literally running amok and it's becoming even more difficult for businesses to access foreign exchange. And the intermittent problems that we've also had with supply. I think one of the biggest problems we've had in the last probably 3-4 years was the complete, diminution in supply into the market. We had FDI and foreign portfolio investment flows effectively just stagnate and disappear completely. What is obvious is that the central bank is now trying to get back some level of stability into the supply of the market. Notice I'm not talking about pricing now. The first thing is to ensure that people can actually have access to the dollar at whatever price that they're willing to pay for it. And I think that is something that the central bank has seemed to be focused on. The fact that they've been able to clear out almost $2.5 billion of backlog, obligations is a positive development. Right. And it's one that we should hope that will start to bring some level of stability to the market. Right. However, the key issue is that price discovery remains a problem. And the moment there's a dislocation in supply, the price discovery obviously becomes more difficult.
You're absolutely right. One of the issues remains the price discovery. The Naira is still trying to find its reflective trading band based on the dynamics of supply and demand. While all of this has been happening, and I know that a big part of the story also with what the CBN has been doing is to send signals to the market that it has things under control and that perhaps sooner than later these issues will be sorted and the Naira will regain some strength. But that hasn't exactly been the case, because if you just take a look at how the Naira has traded at the NAFEM market, for instance, we've seen it go to lows we've never seen at the market before. Now, obviously based on the principle of willing buyer and willing seller, yet the Naira continues to weaken significantly at the NAFEM market and even worse at the parallel market. So when the CBN says that it has this new strategy to address the fundamental issues of the market in the short, mid and long term, what comes to mind for you? Because at the heart of these conversations that we continue to have around the Naira weakness and all of that is supply. Are we producing enough crude? The numbers continue to fluctuate. Well, how much are we paying on, how much is the country receiving from exports, for instance? That obviously isn't moving the needle, etc. But I'd let me let you share your perspective on this.
So there's quite a lot to unpack, from here. The truth is that we know, for example, and this is probably spoken about, we know that there is a supply gap. We know that there's a significant supply gap. However, there is a bigger problem that has been created by the expansionary monetary policy and probably fiscal policy of the previous government. So, I always try to tell people that the government of the current government effectively inherited a poison chalice. The central bank, through ways and means financing, had injected over 30 trillion naira into the market in the last 5 years. The implication of that is that there is significant Naira oversupply in the market. To make it even worse, in the last 12 months, money supply has grown by over 50%, which means that there is a lot of Naira in the market that is chasing dollars. And most of it, we believe, is actually quite speculative. So the real depth of the market is unknown simply because there is a dislocation in, there's no equilibrium. We're struggling to find
Femi, I do apologize to butt in here. Are you suggesting that where the current CRR is, the cash reserve ratio of the banks, is not, are you suggesting that perhaps the Apex Bank needs to increase that to mop up more cash from the system, more Naira from the system?
Esther, one of the things I've been shouting about in the last 7 months is that the fact that we did not have an NBC meeting where the obvious dislocation in the market needed to be responded to is actually borderline irresponsible. The truth is that there is significant liquidity in the market. That's why there's pressure on the currency. That's why inflation has continued to go without control. There's been nothing that the central bank has done that has targeted the actual places where the supply of Naira has become a problem. So the truth is that we need to deal with those issues. There is significant liquidity in the market. It is putting pressure on the currency. It has put significant pressure on reserves. And the only solution is to fix it. And the only way to fix it is to use the instruments of monetary policy that is available to the central bank. And unfortunately, we have to wait another 1 month for the next NPC meeting. That in itself is a problem because the market cannot actually take an official signal from the way the entire committee is thinking. And because of that, the market is effectively just responding to demand and supply drivers that are outside of the control of anyone. So it's almost impossible for the central bank to watch the slide of the Naira without intervening in monetary supply, because that is where the problem is coming from. It's not because the Naira is I mean, when you think about it, there is no justification for a 50% devaluation in the currency, especially when you look at where inflation is at. So from an inflation disparity perspective, or inflation parity perspective, we should have seen probably a 30% type devaluation in the currency. Right. But today we are at 50%.
We have just 2 minutes left. Just wanted you to answer this question and going back to price discovery for the Naira and what, based on current market dynamics, supply and demand, where a realistic trading band of the Naira could potentially be. I know it's a difficult question to answer as the CBN continues to work through some of the issues.
It's actually not very difficult. So the truth is that we've established a new band. I would say that new band is between 1,400 and 1,600. Now, if the central bank does not do anything in the next 1 month, we're going to hit 1,600. And that's the next support level that I'm looking at.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. But I must thank you for your time today. Femi, thank you so much for helping us put some perspective on that. Femi Oladehin, a partner at Argentil Capital Partners.